last 18 years, his cousin Tommy has been Limerick's netminder, but now it's the turn of Joe Quaid to come in for his first taste of championship action. Getting his 44th taste of the championship is Ger Cunningham, team captain as well by virtue of the Bar's fine win in Cork last autumn. A quick glance at the Limerick team reveals a side in transition. No fewer than 6 championship newcomers, well 5 if you exclude Mike Nash, who played about 15 minutes against Kerry a few years ago. The other newcomers are cornerbacks John O'Neill and Steve McDonough, and corner forwards PJ Ryan and Damien Quigley. Back in the fold is centre-half back Ger Hegarty, has been missing from the scene because of injury for much of the last 2 years. His man today is Tomás Mulcahy, whose lively, gutsy style could have an unsettling effect, especially if he's on song. By comparison with Limerick, Cork have a most experienced formation, even though Dennis Walsh is out with hamstring trouble, replaced by Leonard Ford. No championship newcomers, and the only elements of surprise concern the placing of David Quirk at corner back, the new midfield alliance of Pat Buckley and Timmy Kelleher, and the posting of Tony O'Sullivan at top of the left. The referee, poker-faced Sean McMahon from Clare, is ready to start this championship match. And it's Cork who will play from left to right in the first half. It's been a very misty afternoon here for two sides who've long awaited the arrival of June the 5th for this championship engagement. Now is the hour for Gary Kirby, who wins the free, the Limerick captain. And Kirby to take it himself. Little or no wind about this afternoon, and that has gone wide. Interesting, the umpire there took his cap off first before going into flag it wide. Dave Clark over there. John O'Neill coming out, the number 2. Pat Buckley cut in brilliantly over the head of Mike Nash, and Joe Quaid called on to make his first save of the day. Did so well. Beautifully taken there by Cathal Casey. Towards Tony O'Sullivan. John O'Neill his marker. Ball breaks out here beautifully to Kieran Carey of Limerick. Brian Corcoran succeeds in just breaking it down to the oncoming Gary Kirby. Jim Cashman is in quickly. Frantic pace in these opening minutes. Mark Mullins whipping on that one, broken down by Dave Clark. Teddy McCarthy doing enough just to keep his man away from it. In nipped Timmy Kelleher. So a wide apiece, still no score. Indications of a fairly open game. That was the beautiful cut there by Pat Buckley in over the head of the fullback, and the goalkeeper had to be alert. Cashman bats it. Mike Gallagher stepping into the breach. Cathal Casey in pursuit. Gallagher was born in Fairhill in Cork. Hooked brilliantly, and it runs out to Frankie Carroll. Broken down by Leonard Ford. Getting good assistance there from Cathal Casey. And Ger Hegarty was all over Tomás Mulcahy. Barry Egan, the current all-star, the taker, looking for the first point of the day. Just about finding the range. Difficult enough one. But Barry Egan from Delaney's in Dublin Hill, giving Cork the lead. Joe Quaid getting his pucking out early. Teddy McCarthy breaking it down. Pat Buckley was in there with Tomás Mulcahy. Towards Mark Mullins, the former Carlow man. Marked by Declan Nash. Just running out of space. It's missed by Steve McDonough. Nash is back there to assist his number 4. And Limerick looking very unsettled in these early minutes of this match, watching Mark Mullins direct a beautiful point over the crossbar. A real rallying point that for Cork, and Mark Mullins getting the first point from play, and it's Cork 3, Limerick 0. There was a great deal of uncertainty here on the left wing for Limerick, and that was gifted out there to Mark Mullins, and a brilliant point results. Limerick really yet to settle down. Cork battling at midfield, and Cork winning the early exchanges in their own half-forward line. Mike Houlihan tried to do something about that. Pat Heffernan, great block down there. Sean O'Gorman getting in his clearance, not a very long one. David Quirk missing it. Frankie Carroll now, the referee has whistled for that foul. It's going to be a free in on the 20-metre line. Now 9 minutes into the game, looking for Limerick's first. And the umpires confer and then give the signal. And Limerick are off the mark through the sharp shooting of Gary Kirby from Patrick's Well. Off the legs of Brian Corcoran, pursued by Damien Quigley. And another good clearance by Shawnee O'Gorman. Kieran Carey battling well at midfield. Brian Corcoran lets it drop down. Quigley in there quickly. Frankie Carroll. Carroll is on his way, looking for another point for Limerick. And that goes right between the posts. It's a brilliant score indeed. Frankie Carroll then, inspiring his colleagues, just one between them. Well, Frankie, of course, a brother, younger brother of Mossy and the Bomber, as he was known, Brian. They played some great battles in the past against Cork. It really is a very misty afternoon down there. Very difficult for the players on both teams. Cathal Casey has just picked up a little nick over the right eye there. Barry Egan comes out as ever to take the close-in freeze. That one is missed, and it's a goal! Mark Mullins. A goal by Mark Mullins of the Piercing after 12, nearly 13 minutes of the first half. Just as Joe Quaid appeared to make a good save, it came from this free, which was quite short, batted out there by the corner back, and in came Mullins, and it went off the goalkeeper's stick. Leonard Ford. Pat Buckley has started well at midfield and runs on for Tony O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan took a late shoulder there, but he puts it over the bar. A late shoulder came in from Steve McDonough, injuring the Cork number 15. Coming in here smartly to put this one over the bar. The late challenge, as you saw there, from Declan Nash. Gathered here by Cathal Casey. Trying to make some headway. It's Mark Mullins. Easily getting the measure of Declan Nash, showing great pace as well. Nicely inside here, that's German Manley, and that's a great goal! That's a brilliant goal by Manley. 2-4 for Cork, 2 points for Limerick. Well, Limerick were simply torn to shreds as that ball came in, and that instinctive shot there by German Manley rattled the back of the net. Jim Cashman. Jim playing in his 23rd championship match. Kieran Carey, the pick for Limerick so far. Damien Quigley, as Carey's come down awkwardly on his ankle. Jim Cashman. Kicking to Brian Corcoran. Just after he made this intervention, Kieran Carey came down very awkwardly indeed on his ankle. Gary Kirby stepping up to take this sideline cut. Has he got the angles right? Broken down by Damien Quigley. Kieran Carey. Oh, just ran away from him. Still Carey. The one man who's giving the leadership out there right now when Limerick really need it. And he engineers the free. Knew what he was about as well, I think. On a soft afternoon, it's Kirby who went for the goal, and he might have picked off the point. It's another 65. The 65 has been taken, and it's a goal! It's a great goal! Gary Kirby, the one who touched it last. That's exactly what they've needed. 23 minutes into the first half. And the game now takes on a changed perspective. Flighted in there by Mike Houlihan and added to superbly by Gary Kirby to the back of the net. Damien Quigley, now Mike Gallagher. The Limerick fans trying to get behind their team. Quigley outside towards Gary Kirby. Marking is a little bit slack. And Kirby straight over the bar. And that goal has certainly pepped up this Limerick team. A goal and 2 points now for Gary Kirby. Of Limerick's tally of 1-3. Mullins getting it as far as Tomás Mulcahy. And he certainly has the beating so far of Ger Hagerty, who gets back just as I say that to make a splendid hook. Dave Clark now, outside to Kieran Carey. Limerick using the hand pass intelligently to PJ Ryan, down towards Pat Heffernan. Can he keep the ball in play? He can. He gets Sean O'Gorman, goal chance here, stopped on the line by Ger Cunningham. Oh, it's kicked in! A second goal for Limerick. Pat Heffernan, the goal scorer. So now just a point in it. The picture changes completely. That huge puck inside there by PJ Ryan, and it certainly had the Cork defence in trouble. Pat Heffernan's great shot was blocked by Ger Cunningham, but he couldn't reach the second time. Delighted Limerick fans, hoping for a rare championship win against Cork. Ger Hagerty nursing that one across here to Declan Nash. Damien Quigley, that's that one run away for Gary Kirby to come into. Hand passed it forward. Brian Corcoran back, clearing, but only as far as PJ Ryan. And Ryan has been awarded the free in for a chop by Jim Cashman, the centre half back. Gary Kirby, this to drive over the equaliser. It's 2-4 apiece. Gary Kirby now with a goal and 3 points. Clark moving forward, Barry Egan in the chase. Clark from Kilmallock in there in the thick of the action. Number 5, getting the assistance from Frankie Carroll. Playing it down here to Pat Heffernan, that goal scorer. Cleverly taking it away from the attentions of Sean O'Gorman. Bidding to set up another attack towards Gary Kirby. Kirby coming in brilliantly. That's a great goal. That's a superb goal. Minutes after his last goal, he comes in with a beauty. Pat Heffernan was the one who set it up. There's great vision, poor marking it has to be said, but a great finish away to the corner. That's a brilliant goal by any standards. Well, now the questions are going to be asked of Cork. What will their response be to this? Ger Hagerty, it's turning out to be a memorable game in the Munster Championship. A minute and a half before half-time. Kirby again. That's a great score once again. 2 goals and 4 points of Limerick's tally in the first half. Credited to this man here. Here he was, but where was the marking, you have to ask once again. He's looked razor sharp and very fit. And he's made it 3-5 to 2-4. Tomás Mulcahy trying to get his inside forward line moving once again with some fluency. He wins the free in. Worried times now for Johnny Clifford here. Brian Corcoran in to pick up the dangerous Gary Kirby. Barry Egan drops it over the bar to keep his side well in touch. They'll have the half-time talk coming their way very shortly. So Joe Quaid poised to puck out against a Cork side that has brought Teddy McCarthy to the top of the right and Barry Egan to left half forward. It's batted down by Cathal Casey and into Dave Clark. Just 2 men in the inside forward line for Limerick, leaving much space. Damien Quigley, Timmy Kelleher back there. Game is now in injury time in the first half. PJ Ryan brushing aside the challenge of Timmy Kelleher, who got back to make a hook inside towards Pat Heffernan. Heffernan again distributing with intelligence to Damien Quigley, and he picks off the point with great style. That's great confidence by the man from the Piershigs in Limerick. So 4 points the difference once again. There will be words to be said in the Cork dressing room, you can be sure. They started so promisingly with goals from Mark Mullins and Ger Manley, but the important difference was then Gary Kirby got motoring. He scored 2 goals and 4 points of Limerick's half-time tally, and here at the Gaelic grounds it's Limerick leading by 4, 3-6 to 2-5. One change on the Cork team at the start of the second half. They've replaced Teddy McCarthy with Kevin Murray from Clodugh. I think it's worth recording as we start this second half with some inevitable jostling that the rain has died down, there's a freshening breeze, and it's now backing Limerick for the second half. Frankie Carroll tripping, referee says play away. Lobbed in there towards Damien Quigley, but caught. Jim Cashman. Brian Corcoran, now the player who's marking Gary Kirby, who did so much damage in the latter stages of the first half. Dave Clark. Casey. Batting it to Timmy Kelleher. Beating Kieran Carey to it. Tomas Mulcahy there. Exchanging pleasantries with Mike Houlihan, but it was Ger Hegarty who came off second best in the exchange. They were all eyes concentrating on the ball. Hegarty against Mulcahy, and Mulcahy accidentally colliding there with Ger Hegarty. Mike Nash getting out ahead of his man this time, but then running into the challenge from Barry Egan. Pressure on the Limerick backs. Steve McDonough. McDonough facing some problems with Kevin Murray. Inside towards Tony O'Sullivan. Releasing it outside to Barry Egan, going for the point. Perhaps a goal. Oh, that's a great save! He was headed for the top right-hand corner. That's an absolutely splendid piece of goalkeeping by Joe Quaid. Well, Tommy could hardly have done any better. There was a point there for the taking, certainly for Barry Egan, but he appeared to be placing it into the top right-hand corner. David Quirk from Middleton, taker of the 65, dropped short. Tomas Mulcahy under it with Ger Hegarty. Kieran Carey getting the assist of Dave Clark, back in by Timmy Kelleher. He runs in there to the substitute, and a goal by Kevin Murray. He's only on the field for 4 minutes, and Murray has cracked in another goal, the 6th goal of the day so far. Limerick's lead is reduced to 1 point. Ball played in by Timmy Kelleher, missed by a couple of the backs, but not by the very vigilant Kevin Murray, and he venomously strikes it past Joe Quaid. What a way to make your introduction into the Munster Championship on your debut. We're having quite a battle here at the Limerick Gaelic grounds. Frankie Carroll for a Limerick side, stung, wanted to make an instant riposte. Frankie Carroll's second point of the day. This is a thrilling match. Frankie was profiting by a good move that saw him get away from his man and strike over the point. Shawnee McCarthy here being prepared, perhaps he's about to be introduced. Egan whipped across there towards Kevin Murray's corner. Steve McDonough out quickly. Timmy Kelleher. Egan. First chance for Shawnee McCarthy to shine. And he's put it over the bar. And there's just a point between the teams once again. Good move by Cork, they had the man over, and it's 3-7 to 3-6. It's one of those days when you have players like Teddy McCarthy and Tony O'Sullivan in the unusual position of being replaced. Barry Egan, one of the younger stars, in towards Ger Manley at full forward. Ball running on here for Mark Mullins, looking for a second goal, and that's gone over the bar after a great save by Joe Quaid. Mark Mullins was looking for another one. He has to be content with the point, and the match is tied up yet again. Second time in the game, the sides have been level. Joe Quaid is injured. He had a groin strain going into this match. That was whipped in there brilliantly by Barry Egan. Watch as that ball ran on for Mark Mullins. He produced a great save from Joe Quaid and then followed in and put it over. Mulcahy showing his competitive nature. Egan with good stick work, now went off Houlihan. Shonny McCarthy, brilliantly up towards Manley. He's got it. Manley trying to get room to swing a second. Another great save by Joe Quaid. Out to Timmy Kelleher. And a point results. And Cork are in front again. The goalkeeper has produced some heroics, yet he's conceded 3 goals. Joe Quaid after that brilliant save. Cathal Casey's missed it. Runs on towards Gary Kirby. Been policed very well in the second half by Brian Corcoran. Mike Galligan has enough room to strike this one so sweetly and straight between the posts. Level yet again in a match that's taking on epic proportions in very difficult conditions. McCarthy touching it on for Cork. Back there is Mike Houlihan for Limerick. Now Gary Kirby producing the fodder for the inside forward line. Damien Quigley releasing Mike Galligan. Galligan the scorer of that last point. Chance of another here. And he's found the range and Limerick are leading. Mike Galligan puts Limerick ahead. The lead has changed hands on 4 occasions. Well, who's going to win this? Over 17 minutes remaining. That was the dodge by Galligan away from his man, and another great score. Kieran Carey, this is brilliant. Outside superbly to PJ Ryan. Can he find the target? Limerick lead by 2. A first point for PJ Ryan from Gary Spillane. Kieran Carey was very much the architect of the score, but the unmarked number 13 drilled it over. A study of concentration and patience on the Cork bench. Well, it's one of those days when a draw would not be an unfair result, but who can tell? Kieran Carey has certainly played his part. And that's in! It's a great goal! And it's Pat Heffernan! Limerick get a goal in the 28th minute. Again, it's credited to Pat Heffernan. A goal after 28 minutes in the first half, and another at the exact same point in the second half. And that was an absolutely brilliant flick in. A great score, and Limerick firmly in the driving seat. Well worth watching again. If they win, they'll be watching it so many times over the next week. Heffernan in there, and it's a brilliant deflection. That came off the hand of Brian Corcoran. Limerick causing problems. Heffernan going for his hat-trick. Stopped on the line by Ger Cunningham. My goodness, what saves we've seen by the 2 goalkeepers this afternoon. Out by Timmy Kelleher. 3 minutes left. 4-12 to 3-11. 4 points between the teams. Limerick the leaders. Dropped nicely here for Galligan. And Galligan puts 5 between them. A look of delight on the face of the man who was born in Cork, but his loyalty now very firmly with Limerick. 3 points for Mike Galligan, all in the second half. And what a match this has turned out to be. Limerick looked dead and buried, trailing by 8 points after 22 minutes. And now they are here with a 5-point lead. Ger Cunningham. Time ticking away, about 2 minutes left. Kieran Carey playing the game of his life. Timmy Kelleher stepping into the breach. The forwards will look for the ball inside. Timmy on a solo effort outside to Shonny McCarthy. Will he go for a goal? He is! And it's stopped again! What a save! Murray! And that's buried! There are only 2 points between them. Joe Quaid cursing his luck once again after a brilliant save. Kevin Murray has got his second goal. 32 minutes into the second half. This was that miraculous save. Shawnee McCarthy was going for the goal. There's a brilliant piece of goalkeeping. Out it came to Murray, and he fairly rattled the back of the Limerick net. A game of 8 goals, 4 for each team. It reminds me of the 1980 league final played in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. There were 8 goals as well that day. Then it was Cork. Right now it's Limerick. And that's gone wide. A chance for Gallagher to have stretched the Limerick lead with only a minute left. Well, talk about living on your nerves. It's an amazing game. Frankie Carroll. David Quirk trying to stick to him. Lobbed in by Carroll, stopped by Ger Cunningham. 4-13 to 4-11. Possession now vital. Gathered up here. Down towards Ger Manley. Won by Mike Nash. Frankie Carroll. Limerick just needing to hold possession. 25 seconds left. Limerick leading by 2 points. Into the inside forward line. A chance perhaps for Heffernan to get another one. This time the foul is on the substitute, Leo O'Connor. A look of resignation on the face of Jim Cashman. It's going to be a free on the 20-metre line. Well, it's been one of the best championship matches we've seen here in Munster for many years. Gary Kirby the taker. They call it the insurance point. It may be a cliche. They won't care in Limerick. Just Gary's first score in the second half. Cathal Casey battling for Cork still. Mike Gallagher showing great style. Jim Cashman, his side behind by a goal, by 3 points. So it'll take a goal from this attack, perhaps to tie up the match, maybe to take it to a second day. Here comes Murray once again. Possession needed inside here now. That's won there by Declan Nash, taking the shoulder. Limerick needing to stand firm, and Kieran Carey completes a great delivery out of defence. Batted down by Timmy Kelleher to the waiting Pat Buckley. And once again Limerick clearing their lines somehow. That was Don Flynn. We're a minute into injury time. The amateur whistlers want the referee to terminate proceedings. There they are, whistling in there in the Limerick crowd, facing the pressure from the Cork attack. Barry Egan has it. There's a chance still, but that's gone wide. Cork have had a few chances, but it's looking good now for Limerick. We're a minute and 35 seconds into injury time. Limerick 4-14, Cork 4-11. Joe Quaid, who's made some great stops. It's all over, and Limerick have won. The invasion of the Gaelic grounds by the Limerick fans, celebrating a very rare win. The congratulations from Dr. Con Murphy to Joe Quaid, who played the game of his life. He made some brilliant saves on his championship debut. Yes, he was beaten 4 times, so too was Ger Cunningham, but Ger also made some great saves. It was a memorable game. The game of hurling was the real winner, along with Limerick, who won by 3 points, 4-14 to 4-11.
It's a super day. It's a day we've been waiting for a long time. For the last, I've been involved now, it's my 8th year playing Limerick Senior Hurling Championship, and I'll be honest, we have never been Cork or Tip in a championship, and the feelings, it's hard to talk about it.
We're very happy to come through that one, Ger. We expected that it would be a mighty game of hurling, and it was a great game. Cork threw everything at us, and got 2 early scores that we were hoping they wouldn't get, and they upset our plans a bit. But the team showed good character, came back and went ahead, and Cork came back again, and well, we finished a stronger team.
I don't think I expected what was going to come at me today. I knew Cork were going to be tough, but luckily things went right for me on the day.
Today was very special too. Limerick had the whole pile to lose. Cork comes to Gaelic grounds, and for the last 4 or 5 years Limerick have been knocked out of championship hurling by Limerick and Cork, so it was a sweet win for us today.
Well, no one would have believed that after 15 minutes of that match that Limerick would stage a match-winning display over the following hour. But it's Limerick well and truly into the next round of the Munster Championship and a meeting with Waterford on June the 19th. And one thing that we're guaranteed of now, of course, in Munster is that there will be new champions in the south this summer, with Cork and Tipperary now, of course, both out of the running. Well, after the break, we'll be talking about that match in Limerick, and we'll also have Roscommon and Leitrim in the Connacht Football Championship and Antrim and Donegal in Ulster.